man. Real say shit. You already know what's going on. So LA is in full GTA mood right now. Yung Bleu, rising rapper and producer, basically just got into a shootout in Bossa Nova. Before we get into all that information though, I'm gonna need y'all to like, comment, subscribe. Now let's get into this shit. So if you didn't already know, Yung Bleu, he's like a big artist right now. He's also been big this year for like producing and shit, starting like last year. But him and his team were arrested after being victims of an alleged attempted robbery and shootout in LA last night. So it all kind of started out like a normal Thursday evening. Yung Bleu and 4 of his other associates, they went to this place called Bossa Nova on Sunset, and it's basically, I'm pretty sure it's like a Brazilian steakhouse, and it's super nice. It's supposed to be swanky. It's on Sunset, so it's like, it's in Hollywood. It's not in like the hood or anything like that. But Hollywood is like, a lot of people that live out here in LA call Hollywood like the white people hood, because it's like, it's not a hood, but it's like you'll see a lot of crazy shit going on. And something like this is definitely not out of the ordinary. Like whenever I be down in Hollywood, you think that it's like Hollywood, like the Hollywood sign, man, we in Hollywood right now. Nah, like the actual city of Hollywood, not North Hollywood or West Hollywood, but Hollywood, where they were at, which is in Sunset and shit. That shit is weird. Like it's the type of area where anything could happen like randomly, and this type of shit does not surprise me at all. But they were basically like posted up on Sunset, and I guess they were getting their items to go, waiting, you know how people do. It's probably not the best idea if you're like a big producer or artist and you have like a lot of like chains and shit, to be out in an area like that, like just waiting around. I don't know if they were waiting outside. Maybe some of them were walking around waiting outside while he was like inside. But basically, while the restaurant was preparing their items, an attempted robbery took place. During the incident, Bleu and his brother are said to have exchanged gunfire with the perpetrator. While the perpetrator didn't take anything, it appears that Bleu's manager was grazed with a bullet. On some crazy shit. After the incident, Bleu's team left the scene but returned to get the car. So I guess they were in multiple cars, or they just dipped. They just ran out, like, cause I mean they just got into a shootout with a random ass person trying to steal their shit, and then they basically like got into a shootout and then dipped. They just ran on foot, and then they were like, shit, we need to get the car. So after the incident, they returned to get the car. Upon returning to the scene of the crime, police arrested Bleu and his brother. They were both charged with criminal negligence and possession of a firearm. They've now been released. It also reported that somebody next to Bleu's team, like a random person, basically got robbed, I'm pretty sure, or someone came close to robbing them, and that's when the gunfire exchange. I guess they saw that incident going down, and then they were like, oh shit, they're coming for us next. Now, this isn't crazy. All throughout the pandemic, there's been like different shit in LA basically going down, where people are either doing smash and grabs, but also just full-fledged just running up to people and stealing nice ass watches like Rolexes, shit like that, like random ass licks. A lot of it is like younger kids that are like basically just like, a lot of them may be out here, but I know like out here it's more popular probably if you're from here to like rob houses and shit. It could be people that are out here. I've heard a lot of incidents where it actually being artists and stuff like that who come out to LA who are actually trying to fucking like make it, and they don't have any money, and they go on like a string of robberies. This actually happened. This is actually part of the way that allegedly how Scarfo the Plug died, actually, while trying to buy a watch. He came across 2 rappers. I think one of them was named like Baby Plug, and they were credited for basically like doing a string of robberies in nice areas in LA, where they basically were like running up to niggas and shit, stealing watches and stuff, doing crazy shit. But it's like, it's the pandemic right now. LA is really fucking grimy right now. It might not have even been like something like that. It could have been a crackhead or a tweaker. Knowing in Hollywood, especially on Sunset, it's a whole bunch of crackheads and tweakers and shit. People are just out here looking to rob celebrities. Part of the reason is because like they see like chains and shit and think that they can make hella money off that, which I mean, like, they probably won't make as much as they think. Like, look at what happened with Pop Smoke's people. Like, didn't they only sell his chains for a couple thousand or some shit? Totally wasn't worth it. But I mean, it's like kind of what goes on right here. And gun laws are super strict, so it's not like fucking Florida where you could shoot at someone or some shit and then like get away with it. If you fire a gun, you're basically gonna get like definite jail time probably in Cali. Wouldn't be surprised. I wonder if there's like a self-defense. Maybe like they could say it was in self-defense if it was like security that had a gun and those were like legally registered and shit, but it's definitely sketchy because gun laws strict as fuck out here. Literally seen people like get in trouble for not even shooting, just having a gun and getting like time for that type of shit, which is no surprise. It's similar to New York, probably not as strict though because it's not as many people on top of each other, but still. But hey man, hopefully Yung Bleu gets out of this situation. I mean, they had to do what they had to do. Better do that shit than get robbed or worse. Especially, I feel like it has to be a crackhead or some shit. Like, why in the fuck do you think that it's like a good idea to rob someone in a steakhouse? I'm guessing they were inside the steakhouse because they attacked someone else, or maybe they were right outside. You have to be a tweaker to do that shit. Like, who in their right mind is doing that shit in like broad and right in front of everyone, like, and thinking they're gonna get away with that, especially a group of people. There was one nigga versus 4 people and he was going around from people to people. Like, that had to be a tweaker. That's just in my opinion. But let me know in the comments, you think it was some organized shit or you think it was a crackhead trying to get a score or some shit? But hey man, real say shit. You already know what's going on. Like, comment, subscribe. Let's go. Peace.